Okay, question 3 is, how do we deal with issues that clearly address a different topic? For example, when brainstorming communication with Susie, it was suggested that dad and mom punish Susie for cursing. How do you move an idea that belongs to a different topic? So with this one, I would not think that this is a different topic. So if there's conversation in the brainstorm about Susie cursing and what we're going to say, right? And then there's how are we going to handle Susie cursing? That is how we communicate with Susie about her cursing. So if the topic is communication with Susie, then to me, this idea about, well, what we'll do if she curses is we're going to tell her that she's punished, right? That's how they're going to handle it. Then to me, that's not a different topic. If while brainstorming communication with Susie, there was a bunch of arguments or ideas coming up about time with Susie, right? How often Susie visits mom, how often she, is she coming on weekends or holidays? How are they splitting up the weeks? Who's taking her back and forth to school when she's at mom's house, right? Then that's time with mom. That is a totally different topic, right? But this one, if it is about communication with Susie and something comes up about what are we going to say to Susie if she does something, and punishment being one of those things, then for me, this is not a way off base. So I think one kind of litmus test to decide for yourself, is this so far off topic that we need to pause? Because the strategy would be, if it's way off topic, you would say, though it sounds like you are having a lot of ideas about time with mom, and right now we're working on communication with Susie. Would you like to pause this brainstorm about communication with Susie and start fresh with time with mom and then come back to this topic? Or do you want to keep going with communication with Susie? And then you let them decide, because you don't want to be running 2 brainstorms at the same time. So you're either stopping one and starting another all the way through, or you're going to keep going on the one you're on all the way through. And then they, if they want to, can bring up those ideas that they had about time with mom later. You're not going to track the ideas that they had about the other topic if they're not in that topic, if they're not brainstorming that topic. But if you, one litmus test to figure out if this is about that topic or not, the ideas that they're given. Is this about the topic or is it not? If it is similar enough, if it touches on the topic, right? So they're talking about walking the dog. They're talking about the dog as the topic that they're brainstorming, but they also have communication as a topic, right? How they communicate with each other. And in the dog brainstorm, they have ideas about not yelling at each other about the dog, not interrupting when they're talking about the dog, not right. So those are communication ideas and dog ideas. You can keep taking those ideas because they are about the dog, although they're also about how communication happens about the dog, right? Because that's the dog topic. So my point is, if they're giving ideas that still touch on this topic, although there's another topic that would also grab these same kind of ideas, that's okay. People's lives are nuanced and sometimes topics overlap a little bit. And so while you're working on one, ideas might come up about the another topic that are still relevant to the topic that you're on. So it's okay to keep getting those ideas and you don't have to pause them.